much for to attempt to listen us. It's a big pleasure to tell you. It's a big honor. Thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much for trying to show the world what we have now here.
Well, I'm the one who's honored. So you're the one who's facing, unimaginable circumstances at the moment, and you've been going through it for quite some time now, too long. So I thank you. Can you tell me a little bit? I know you're in Kyiv. Can you tell me a little bit about exactly where you are in terms of how far you are from some of the more heavy strikes and shelling at the moment?
So I live in the left bank of the Dnieper River, nearby of two bridges, and not so far from Borispil airport. So in my district, we didn't receive any bomb yet. Oh, I hope I will not receive it. But we hear it, we see it. I am moving through Kyiv because I have some volunteer activities as well, and moving through in Kyiv, and some shootings were nearby of me. I watch it, I see it, and when we were moving some medical equipment nearby of Kyiv, the bombing were, I guess, 5 kilometers from me. So we hear it every day, we see it every day, we see explosions, we see red sky when something exploded. But in the same time, I can say that our air defense works good, and mostly all the bombs which are coming to Kyiv just not reaching the goal. Only a few of them fall down to the goal, and a few buildings, living buildings, civil buildings were destroyed in Kyiv. Also, some people died during these explosions. But in the same time, I can say that it's much more better than in Kharkiv. It's much more better than in Mariupol now. It's much more better than in Gostomel, which is 20 kilometers from me now, or other towns nearby Kyiv, where every hour, every day are bombing and fights. So it's all towns like Gostomel, where airport, like Vasilkiv, it's 20-25 kilometers from my place. It's very close to us, and big problem for us now is that we have no closed sky. It's a big problem. Why do we ask Europe, NATO, the USA to close skies? Not just because we want everything to be easier. No, we know that we can win on the earth. We know that we can beat Russian enemies. But by air, they're killing civil people. They're killing kids, civil people's women. They are not trying to destroy our military equipment or military buildings. They're destroying civil people's buildings. The same house like I live, and so on. Another big problem is that the cities like Mariupol, which are blocked by Russian army now, they don't permit to take away women, kids from there, or ill people. They even don't permit us to bring water and food there. They just closed all the entrance to city, and on all negotiations they do not agree, not permit us to bring something for people there. And it's big pain for us. It's big pain for me because I'm quite far from Mariupol, but during my work I was traveling a lot through whole Ukraine, through whole world. I've been in different countries, and all cities in Ukraine are close to me because I was living in Lviv for a year and a half when I had a contract there. I was living in Donetsk before all this happened. I have friends in Mariupol. I have friends in the whole Ukraine, and I imagine what is going on there. I talk to people from there because some part of my volunteering activities is not only to bring some equipment for our army, not just to bring some medical devices for for Ukraine, but also to try to save some people. It's difficult. It's difficult not just because you are afraid of something. Of course, we are afraid. Of course, I am 41. I want to live. I have two small kids. I want to see how they become a man and so on and so on. But uh, you know, we are ready to die for our country. We are ready to die for the future of our kids. We don't want to die, but we are ready. And Russian army tries to not to destroy our country, not to occupy our country. They are trying to destroy our nation. They are trying to destroy Ukrainian as nation, and it's impossible, because when now we have army and we have territory defense. Territory defense is people who day before or 1 week before were just working in IT, in different field, in culture. They were artists, they were painters, and now they are fighting as soldiers. It's impossible to beat us. It's impossible to destroy our nation. One of plan of Putin was to show us that as if our president gives some interview and said that we are giving up. It's impossible. Even if our president will say that, we will not stop protecting our country. We are not fighting for president. We are not fighting for something unbelievable. We are fighting for our country. We are fighting for each other. We are protecting each other. That is why I'm absolutely sure that we will win. But at the same time, we really need the sky to be closed, because another problem is nuclear stations. Putin occupied Chernobyl station. Now, half an hour ago, I had a call that big fires nearby Energodar in Zaporizhia region. It's also nuclear station there.
Yeah.
And if something will go there, if some bomb will come there, the whole world, Europe and Russia will feel it. We will have the second Chernobyl. I remember what is Chernobyl. I was 6 years old when Chernobyl station was exploded. Just this crash happened. I remember how it was, and I remember I know what is now. What we have some problem. A lot of people had problem with health still now because of that situation, and I don't want it to go on. I don't want them to repeat it, because sometimes I see what do they do with people in occupied places, and I understand that they're crazy. I understand that they're just trying to make as much pain as possible, and they won't understand that if they do something with nuclear station, their family will also feel it. Russian families will also feel it. The whole Europe will also feel it. And we need at least the sky over the nuclear station to be closed. We have, I don't remember, 4 or 5 nuclear stations in Ukraine, including Chernobyl, and it's just necessary for the protection of Europe, for the sky over it to be closed. On the earth, we will win. I am absolutely sure that they are afraid of us on the earth. They are. I know how do they running away from us during the earth battles. I know that because we are fighting for our earth, for our country, and they are fighting for some ideas that fascists here or protecting some Russian-speaking people. I speak Russian. I speak Ukrainian. These 2 languages are both native for me. And now, when they are coming to the regions where most of the people were Russian speaking, they hate Russian army. People there are there in south of Ukraine, in east of Ukraine, people there are mostly Russian speaking. But now these people are coming and trying to stop tanks with their hand, without any weapon, just stopping tanks. And these people are Russian speaking. So the question, whom do you protect?
That's right.
You want to protect Russian speaking people, they don't want to be protected by you. We have our country, we have our nation. and we will be able to deal here with each other like it was before. I was tripping the whole Ukraine. I was tripping from the southern to the northern part, from western to eastern part. I have a lot of friends there, and somewhere I could speak Russian, somewhere in Ukrainian, and everything was fine. And one person decided that he is the king of the world and he can just kill people. No, we will fight.
Oleksii, I know that there's been a lot of talk and questions to some world leaders who are part of NATO regarding blocking the airspace, a no-fly zone, and the continual answers in different variations that I hear is that if we were to do that, things will quickly escalate.
Yes, but it's
here
not then nuclear station.
Yeah, we hear the words World War III constantly, and so what are your thoughts in terms of NATO's stance with this at the moment?
I think that Russia is not so powerful like we think. They have a lot of people, they have a lot of big quantity of army, but now we see that they are not the strongest army in the world. We have much more smaller army, but we are winning here in the war now. If we have the same quantity of people in army like they have, I think we would finish it in 1 week. Today we would celebrate the victory. I think that we shouldn't be afraid of Russia, that Russia can use nuclear weapon. The process of launch nuclear bomb, it's not one person process. As far as I know, there should be 7 people who should do the job to launch the nuclear bomb. 7 people. And can we imagine that 7 people will be the same crazy like their leader and will do the same? Because these people also have their families, which are not underground, which are not hidden, which live there. And they understand that this radiation will come to their kids. And I am absolutely sure that this chain will be stopped on one process. And I'm absolutely sure that it won't be. But if the bomb will come to nuclear station, we won't have this third world war, but we would have big ecological problem everywhere. So it's the question. We have risks everywhere in this way and in this way. We should find which risks are closer here now. I think that we are much more closer to nuclear problem because of nuclear station than to the third world war, which Russian can start if NATO will destroy some planes or bombs.
Now, in terms of, I want to switch gears and talk a little bit about aid. I know that you're not right on the front line, although you're really close. What are you aware of in terms of aid that is actually being directly received? And I ask this because I've seen one of your posts where you were asking about supplies for the Ukrainian soldiers, and it was vests and very basic supplies. I know that President Biden had recently authorized another 350 million in aid to Ukraine. But I know that takes a little bit of time for that money to percolate and translate into actual equipment on the ground. So what's your sense, or what do you know right now in terms of what kind of aid is actually reaching the soldiers, and if they are lacking basic items?
The problem is that the logistics is quite difficult here now because we have no planes. Yeah, we have big problems with trains, and as well we have some roads are closed, occupied by Russian. And I know that a lot of equipment comes to Western Ukraine now. I know that equipment like medical and another equipment for our army. And at the same time, I have a lot of friends who are in army who are medicals now. And there are some medical equipment which is everyday using. They need it every day just because we have people who are wounded, we have people who are dying, we have civil people who also can have some problem with health. We just a big problem now because elder people who had a problem with their heart or some diabetes, they also need some medicines. And due to the fact that some parts of entering to Kyiv are under the battles now or close now, we have only few ways to deliver to Kyiv, and that is why logistics is much more longer. And we don't know for how long this war will be. We don't know how many how many people will Putin put to Ukraine more. We don't know how many people from Belarus army will come here. And that is why we should be always ready for continuing war. And we sometimes we just think in advance. We think that okay, now we still have some this equipment and this equipment, but we understand that such type of equipment, some such type of medical devices which are always needed, and that is why we are trying to find it whenever some logistics in Kiev. We just bought everything, or people just give for no money from their warehouses. It's not about business now. It's just about just United of Nations. If somebody can give, it's for free. People are giving for free even equipment for two, three, $4,000. They were buying it before, but now they are ready to give it for free because they also protecting their country. Each person in Ukraine is in the place. Everybody tries to do all the best. And I have partners now. The whole my day is being on telephone, being in just writing some messages, just talking to somebody who can supply this one, this one, this one. And sometimes I'm just running through different chats and trying to understand who is writing to me now. And just because we know that we need it to protect people, we need it to protect our army and to protect civil people. If one bomb will come to civil house, there will be a lot of wounded there, and a lot of medical devices will be needed to save lives. We have a clinic here with kids which have cancer, for example, which have some difficult diseases, and they were trying to attack in Kiev our kids hospital, and they were trying to reach there. I have one friend from my youth who works as a doctor there, and I just talked to him, and he said, "We are under the first floor. We are down. We are trying to do our best, but there are some kids, some people who cannot be there because some medical devices couldn't be put it down. It should be on the floor." And they're also heroes because medicals now working 24 hours, 7 days, and just sleeping in the hospital. They don't go home. I know some of them brought their families to the hospital also just for them to be nearby. Of course, it's a problem that now families, my kids are far from me. My wife is far from me. My parents are far from me. They're here in Ukraine, but 200 kilometers from me. I miss them. It's the biggest period of time when I don't see my kids. Never before. There were maximum 2 days before. I just could go to some trip and just coming back or trying to take them with me. And now we are far for 1 week. My eldest son he is very close to me. He's crying today. First days he was crying, asking daddy when he will come. Now then he just a bit calm, and today he was also crying when you will come. It's a problem, and that is why I wanted to finish it as fast as possible, just to be nearby of them and for them to be in safe place. And that's the same situation with a lot of people here. A lot of people, a lot of men move their families to the western Ukraine or to the other region, but at the same time, a lot of women are in the army. A lot of young ladies, young girls, which are just taking the weapon and just participating in the battle. And it's a big honor for them too. A lot of people who are 60 years old and elder, they are also protecting Kyiv now. All people here in Ukraine are protected now. Somebody as volunteer and participating in battles. Somebody just trying to help to people to move to the Western Ukraine. We are all the one. And one big thank to Mr. Putin is he joined the nation. I'm not I wasn't a fan of our president. Just I didn't like him. I was a fan of previous president of Ukraine, Poroshenko. But now I'm among 93% of people who fully support him.
Yes, I think President Zelensky has really shown who he is during this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really a surprise for me. It's really, I'm happy that I was wrong about him. Because now that's what he do now. It's just fully supported by me and by my friends who weren't fans of him before. And yes, we are supporting each other. We are supporting our president. We are supporting for 100%. I don't know who are the people who are 7% who are not supporting him, but okay, we have in Ukraine people who are waiting for Russia, and 7% of them waiting for Russia. Okay.
So what are your what are your conversations like now with your sons? You talked about your sons earlier, and I know the 1.5-year-old is a bit too young to really comprehend. But what are your conversations like now with your wife and your son?
My elder son, he's 4.5. He knows what is going on because when the war started, we woke up at 5 o'clock because of we understood there's something going on. A bit, I know a bit military. Yeah, I've been volunteering during the Donbass war, and I know what is a war. I've seen it before, and I understood that it's a war. And a few days before, I was starting talking to him about what's going on, what can happen. I was trying to prepare him that it's possibly you should leave Derry for a couple of days, for a week, just because Derry should protect our country. Derry should stay here and just to fight for it. Now he knows that I'm fighting. Now he knows that I'm doing all my best for him to come back to Kyiv as soon as possible. He's not asking questions about it, but he's every time he's asking when you'll come, when you'll come. Will you soon come to me? Will you bring me some books? He likes to read very much. He likes geography very much. He knows all countries with all flags, with all capitals already. He just can tell me what is the capital of African countries, Asian countries, and which are flags. And he asked me if you should bring me some book about geography, about flags, about country. And I promise him that soon I'll come and bring you some books. But it's quite difficult to buy some books here in Ukraine now, in Kyiv now, because all bookstores are closed. And but I will find when I come, when it's over, I will find and bring him best books.
Well, I think as a parent, I empathize with you. So I have 3 kids of my own. So I empathize with that feeling. I obviously can't imagine exactly what you're going through, but I understand generally how you feel, and it's heavy. So I understand.
Really very heavy because I'm 41. I have two kids, and my life changed when my elder kid was born. And I used to have 4. I had 4 kids-in-law, and I was always liked children's kids and so on and so on. But when my kid was born, something really changed inside of me. Something really, it's another feelings. And he's no, my younger son is mommy's son, and my elder son is fully a daddy's son. He just never sleeps before I came. He never goes to the bed before I came. He just, if I work, sometimes you need to work longer to stay at the work longer and coming back home later. But he was always waiting for me.
Oh.
Yeah, he was lying to the bed only with me, and he was sleeping. and then I left him. Not mommy. Yeah, he loves mommy very much. He loves daddy, grandfather, and grandmother, but he always did it with me. And we have some specific proceed before sleep, before he's going sleep, and we just could talk a bit about something with him. And now, it's some part of my heart is away from me, but I know that I should be here. I know that I'm fighting for their future in the happy country in Ukraine. Yeah, I had chances in my life, in my career. I used to have a lot of chances to live not in Ukraine, to leave Ukraine, to live in other countries in Europe. It's not my choice. I like Europe. I like being there. I like tripping. But my country is here in Ukraine. My heart is here, and the same. I'm trying to give the same to my kids. And it's not nationalism like Russians think. No, it's patriotism. We like our country, we love our country, and we are born here. I always saying that God gives us two things which we are not choosing. We are born in the family of our parents. We are not choosing our parents, and we are not choosing the country where we were born. These two ways, these two things we are not choosing. It's given from higher. And all the same, then we are going by life and we can just go this way and that way. But our parents and the country where we were born, it's from the beginning. And that is why it's inside of me. That is why it's really.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful sentiment. I love that. On that note, I'd like to kind of end with a little bit of the unique, I think, resolve and strength of the Ukrainians. I think, we're all rooting for you. Our hearts are with you. And we see the attempt of Russia at the moment, and we see what you're all dealing with from all angles, literally of all angles of the country. And
Yeah.
and you've kind of identified already and explained where that strong will comes from. And I know you're not fearless. Everybody feels the fear, but they're so sure that you will win. Every single Ukrainian says we will win. So can you tell me just a little bit more about where that comes from? And I see you have a smile on your face about it, but where that comes from, I'd love to hear.
I don't know. Probably we are Cossacks. Yeah, our Cossacks were some our daddies, grandfathers, and so on, so on. Probably from there. I don't know. We were always fighting. If to read it in Ukrainian history, we were always fighting for our independence. We were always fighting for our nation. Starting from Kyiv Rus was one of the top countries in the continent. Yeah, because they had really big culture in Kyiv. Kyiv is 1,525 or 35, I don't remember, years old. It's a really ancient place, really very great place. I don't know why it is, but it's side of us. It's quite difficult to explain why do I love my country so much. Yes, we never had good life here generally. Yeah, we need to work hard here. As we just a lot of people were poor here, didn't have enough money for living. But in the same time, we still love this country because we know that it's difficult to explain. It's just inside. And then when I talk to some friends and so on, it's inside of them. It's some kind of part of the heart. It's some kind of love to kids. It's some kind of love to your wife or to your parents. It's quite difficult to explain why do I love my wife. Just because I love her. And that's not because of she has these pluses, these minuses. No, I love her generally with pluses and minuses. That is why I love my kids who are sometimes they do something good, sometimes bad. But I love them. I just no because of no reasons, just because they are my kids. And that's why we love our country, because it's our country. And we had different times. We had a period when Ukraine was devoted into two parts. One was just wanted to go to Russia, and another wanted to go to Europe. Now this I told before. Now the regions which were as if pro-Russian, now they are fighting against Russian. They don't want to be with Russia. I was participating in all Ukrainian revolutions. In 2004, when I was 24, I was participating in that revolution. I was participating in the revolution 8 years ago, so I was wounded there. And just because my heart said I should fight for my country, and now the same. It's just emotion which come from inside.
Yes. So what would you like to leave everybody with? What would you like to share with the world at the moment, in terms of how we can help? We know there's petitions, there are ways to donate. To be honest, a lot of us have been doing those things and we still feel as though our hands are tied. It's very difficult from afar, but we're all using our voice as best as we can. What are some thoughts that you have right now before we end the meeting?
First of all, I'm really thank you world, for being with us, because we are strong, but together we are stronger. You help us very much, and we are really thankful to you. And I always tell to all people who are helping us now, after the victory, welcome to Ukraine. I will by myself just make excursion to you in all Ukrainian cities. I've been there, so welcome to everybody. After our victory, we will show you our hospitality. We will show you. I want to ask not to forget about us, because there is some specifics that when sometimes come and everything seems to be, oh, it's just the war. It's just the war. It's 1 month of the war, 2 months of the war, and not forget about it. We don't know for how long it will go on. We hope that it will soon finish, but every day we hope it. Every day we hope that tomorrow everything will be finished. Tomorrow everything will be finished, but we don't know really. Do not forget about us. Talk to your friends about us. Just we have a lot of people who are showing, who are expressing their opinion in Facebook and LinkedIn. Share it to the world. Also, it's big problem for Ukrainian business now. I'm CEO of company, Ukrainian IT company, and we have more than 20,000 clients worldwide. We are SaaS products, and we work. Now we do everything we can for our clients not to feel any problem, for their business go ahead, and they just and Weblum, we have 50 persons in Weblum who in our company who are working, and I think 45 are still working. Some of them in Kyiv, some of them in the western part of Ukraine, but we still working under the bombing. This is really very important to us to have some special conditions. We, when everything will be over and we will come back, believe we are very, very hospitality people. We are really will give you more than. Please believe, because it's specific our nation. If somebody gives us $1, we will do all we can to just give back $5. It's not in money, but in all we can, because we really appreciate this help. We really, for me, it's really big pleasure that world helps us. It's a big, unfortunately, in such conditions, it would be better if we help each other in other conditions. But I have some items which I trying to follow during my life. I was always talking. If one person will help to another person, and this second person will help to the third person, and so on, so on, so on, the world will be much more better.
Yes, and we have an expression for that. We call it paying it forward.
Yeah. That's why that's style of my life. I was always trying to be to help if I can. Not always you can, but I told in the beginning that when it's quite big pain when you can't help now. It's just, I understand that I cannot help everybody, but when you can't help to someone, your heart is broken. And I know some volunteers here in Ukraine who are crying each night, not because of rain, because today couldn't help to somebody because they see that somebody died today. It's difficult. It's difficult, but that's our life now.
Thank you, Oleksii. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your
Thank
time,
you.
which I know is even more precious for you at the moment.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, and our hearts and our thoughts are sincerely with all of you. So thank you, and let's please stay in contact.
Yes, I thank you very much. Really, thank you. Thank you, and thank everybody that you are with us.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Oleksii. Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.